Greetings and welcome to another Pokemon 2019 or Pokemon Journeys the Series anime video. In this video I want to talk about Eternatus and about Ash vs Leon. More specifically, I want to talk about a very recent leak that suggests that Eternatus will return and that Leon might use Eternatus against Ash in the finals of the Masters tournament. This is absolutely insane. Assuming of course that it is true. This leaked today at the time of recording this video, so this is still fresh information that has not been confirmed or proven yet, which is why I wondered if I should really make a video on the matter. However, since this is all so unbelievably crazy and I do think that it might happen, I decided to cover this leak in a video as soon as possible. Now I do want to emphasize that this is just a leak. It may or may not be true. So do take all this information with a grain of salt. But let's get to the leak now, shall we? So the leak is comprised of these three images. One of them shows Leon, Sonia, and Professor Magnolia in an empty Windown Stadium. Eternatus is seen here, hovering above them. Ash and Goh are also here, looking at Eternatus in awe. The second image shows a close-up of Ash and Goh as they stare at Eternatus. The third image shows Leon looking at Eternatus with a pleased expression. Leon is smiling here, so he is clearly happy to see Eternatus. Sonia is also seen here. This third image also has the banners that show the sponsors of the anime. This is always seen at the end of the extended episode previews, so these images seem to be taken from an episode preview. Now the last time we saw Eternatus was back in the Darkest Day arc. At the end of this arc, Ash and Goh caught Eternatus. Eternatus' Pokeball was then sealed and locked up for safekeeping by Professor Magnolia. Going by these images, one of two things might happen. First, Leon decides that he wants to use Eternatus, so he calls Sonia and or Professor Magnolia asking if he can use Eternatus. Sonia and Professor Magnolia say yes, and they then deliver Eternatus to Leon, who proceeds to send out Eternatus in order to see if he can indeed use Eternatus. To see if Eternatus will listen to him. Ash and Goh somehow learn of all of this and they head to Windown Stadium to see what's going on. As for why Leon might want to use Eternatus, well, I can think of two good reasons. First, he said in episode 125 that he had to make sure that the finals will be blazing. Using a legendary Pokemon is one way to heat things up. The second reason is that Eternatus is the first and the so far only Pokemon to defeat Leon. Leon said in episode 100 that because of Eternatus, he realized that the world is big, that there can still be opponents that are stronger than him, and that he can still get even stronger. So I could see Leon deciding to use the Pokemon that taught him so many important lessons in what will likely be his biggest and most important battle yet. Now the fact that Leon could use a legendary Pokemon does sound unbelievable, but I think that it is possible for two key reasons. First, Kukui used Tapu Koko and Tobias used Latios, so having Ash's final opponent in a series use a legendary Pokemon is certainly not unheard of. Second, in Pokemon Masters EX, Cygna's suit Leon uses Eternatus. Pokemon Journeys has taken quite a few cues from Masters EX, so I would not be surprised if it takes a few more. There is also the fact that a legendary Pokemon raises the stakes and excitement for a final climactic battle even more. Now there is one big counter-argument to Leon using Eternatus, which is that Eternatus technically belongs to Goh, since the Pokeball that was used to catch Eternatus belonged to Goh. So Leon should not be able to use Eternatus, since it belongs to another trainer. There are, however, ways around this. Goh could lend Eternatus to Leon. We have seen plenty of instances where someone uses a Pokemon that belongs to someone else. Goh could also release Eternatus, thus allowing Leon to either catch it or to use Eternatus as a wild Pokemon, just like Kukui used Tapu Koko. Goh could also trade Eternatus to Leon. Since Goh has never used Eternatus and we have not even seen Eternatus with Goh after it was caught, there really would be no issue if Goh no longer owns Eternatus. So yeah, it is still possible that Leon will use Eternatus even if Goh technically owns it. Though like I mentioned before, there are two possible scenarios at play in these images. I already discussed the first scenario, and now it's time to discuss the second scenario, which is that Sonia and Professor Magnolia might just want to study Eternatus, and to achieve this, they enlist the help of the three trainers that battled and subsequently defeated / caught Eternatus. These three trainers are of course Ash, Leon, and Goh. So it's not that Leon requests to use Eternatus, it's just that Sonia and Professor Magnolia need his help to study Eternatus. Therefore, Leon will not use Eternatus. However, while Leon's intention might initially be to help with researching Eternatus, I could see him getting the idea to use Eternatus during the course of the study. Meaning that what will actually happen in the end is a combination of both scenarios and of everything I discussed. Therefore, I would not discard the possibility that Leon will use Eternatus. So, that's the leak, every possible scenario that can be derived from it, what I think will happen, and why I think that all of this is possible. I now want to talk about my thoughts on all of this. If the second scenario is the correct one, then this will just be a fun and interesting episode that won't have too much of an impact on the finals. However, if the first scenario is the correct one, then not only will this episode be insane and interesting, but it will also have a huge impact on the finals. There has been a lot of discussion regarding whether or not Ash will defeat Leon. Well, Leon using Eternatus certainly stacks the odds against Ash. Unless he calls for backup, aka his strongest Pokemon, his odds of winning are slim. But they are not zero. Ash has defeated legendary Pokemon before, so there is still a chance that he will win. I do think that it is unfair that Leon might use Eternatus, though I also think that it is exciting, since the finals will for sure be more intense. But that's everything I have for you in this video. Again, most of what I discussed in this video has not been confirmed yet. However, I do think that all of it is possible. Therefore, I would not dismiss any of it. Do let me know in the comments down below what you think will happen, what you hope will happen, and your overall thoughts. But that's the video. As always, leave your own thoughts down in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did and would like to see more like it, then please consider subscribing to my channel. I love Pokemon and I love making videos on both the anime and the games. Also, please consider clicking the links on screen so that you can check out more videos like this right away. Thank you very much for watching, and let's meet again in the next video.